Now that Alex Pereira regained his belt at UFC 220, there's a lot of talks on who should Alex fight next. There's a lot of fighters that are possible for Alex's next fight. Some matchups more hyped than others, some matchups more hardcore than others. Well, either way, I'm making my video to show who is Alex's best opponent next. Well, anyways, I made a video similar for this for Ilya's next opponent, for Volk's next opponent. Similar system, as in, it's gonna be a lineup of fighters, each gonna be ranked 1 through 5 between 6 categories. You're gonna see 3 right now. I'm gonna show the other 3 later. And let's just go through the fighters. Jiri, even though he's 0-2 with Alex, he did win himself another chance at the title. Ankalaev, he is 1-1 with Alex. There's an argument for a trilogy. Aspinall, he's the heavyweight champ. There's talks of Alex Pereira fighting for a heavyweight belt in the future. John Jones, there's talks of Alex versus Jones at the White House. Carlos Ulberg is, you know, the up-and-comer, the guy who's on a winning streak, who beat Reyes, who arguably could fight Alex Pereira next for Alex's title defense. And Khamzat Chimaev, there's talks of Khamzat Chimaev moving up from middleweight to light heavyweight to fight Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight belt. Now, for the last performance, this column is going to be ranked 1 through 5, as like I said. 1, it's going to be you got dominated. 5, you destroyed your opponent. And for Jiri, I'm going to give him a 4 because he did lose the first 2 rounds against Khalil. It was a very, you know, he did lose them kind of convincingly. Then he comes around with a crazy 3rd round, destroyed Khalil, broke him down, and KO'd him. You know, made him drop dead. Crazy performance in the 3rd round, but because of those 2 rounds, I'm gonna have to go from a 5 to a 4 because of the first 2 rounds. Ankalaev's last performance is a 1. He got utterly destroyed by Alex Pereira. There is no good moment in the first round for Ankalaev. He got dropped, grounded pound. It's gonna be a 1, obviously. Tom Aspinall's last performance is gonna be a 5. He utterly destroyed Curtis Blaydes. Even though there was like 1 or 2 times he did get hit with a jab, it wasn't enough. It was just a quick finish. He quickly finished Curtis Blaydes. He dropped him, grounded pound, and defended his interim belt, which, you know, in my opinion, he defended his actual belt. Anyways, John Jones, I'm gonna give him a 3. It was an old Stipe. He picked up Stipe, dropped him on the ground, cut him open, and then later on finished him, I think, in the 3rd round with a spinning back kick. It was a crazy performance, but because it is a old Stipe, I'm gonna have to bump it down to a 3 because there was moments where John Jones was even getting hit by an old man Stipe. So I'm gonna have to bump it down to a 3 because he didn't really dominate Stipe, an old man Stipe. Next up, I'm gonna give Ulberg a 5. That was a crazy finish over Reyes. Very great performance. You know, that's something you want to see for someone that wants to fight for a title next, just to dominate their opponent. I'm still heartbroken from Reyes getting KO'd, but I'm gonna have to give Ulberg a 5. And lastly, Khamzat a 3. Great performance when it comes to domination. Visually, very bad. So it goes from a 5 down to a 3. He didn't get the submission. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to submit DDP. He just wanted to hold him down. So even though it was very you know, very impressive, visually, entertainment wise, I'm going to give it a 3. Now for notable wins, basically. Notable wins, you're saying how many wins you have over guys are, you know, legacy defining names, you know. So for Jiri, I'm gonna give him 4. He does have Khalil, he has Jamal Hill, a former champ, Glover Teixeira, a former champ, and Dominic Reyes, someone who fought for the belt. So I'm gonna give him 4. Makes sense. I'm gonna give Ankalaev a 1 because he does have a win over Alex Pereira, you know, the champ once again. And so, you know, good win, but that's about it. You know, I don't think his other wins are that notable. Tom Aspinall, I'm gonna give him 3. He does have a win over Curtis Blaydes, Sergey Pavlovich, and Alexander Volkov. Those are 3 big, very strong names to have wins over, especially in the first round KO. Very good notable wins for Tom Aspinall. Those 3. The rest are kind of iffy, you know. Jones is gonna be a 5. Technically, I can give Jones like 13, 14, 15 notable wins, but it maxes out at 5 to make it fair. And so I'm gonna give Jones 5, obviously. There's nothing else to explain. Ulberg, I'm gonna give him 2. He does have a win over John and Reyes. Those are 2 notable wins. Even though John was basically, you know, he was old and borderline retiring. You know, at that age, he should low-key be retired. He's still dangerous, so I'll still count John. And Reyes, you know, he was on an upcoming streak, so those 2 are his notable wins. And lastly, Khamzat, he has the wins over Usman and DDP and Robert Whittaker. Loki, I should have 3. I don't know why I have him as 2. Either way, I'm gonna have him at 2. I don't know. Loki forgot he fought Usman. Either way. So next up, activity 1 is basically you skip a year or you're very inactive. 2 is you fight once a year. 3 you fight 2 times a year. 4 you fight 3 times a year, and 5 you fight 4 times a year. So Yuri is gonna be a 3. He does fight 2 times a year. There's not much to explain. Ankalaev, he fights 2 times a year. Aspinall, he fights once a year, and that's not his fault, especially because the guy below him, Jones, he was very inactive. I'm gonna give him a 1. He skips years. He's very known to be inactive. Olberg, he fights 2 times a year, and Hamza, he fights once a year, very inactive by choice. So those are it for the first 3 columns: 11, 5, 10, 9, 10, 7. Next up is winning streak, hype, and hype matchups. So 1 is you lost your last fight. 2, you're on a 1-fight winning streak. 3 is you're on a 2-fight winning streak. 4, you're on a 3-fight winning streak. And 5, you're on a 4-fight winning streak, or you're on a longer winning streak. So yeah, so for Yuri, I'm gonna give him a 2 because he's on a 1-fight winning streak. He did lose to... Wait, I should have given Yuri... Wait, did I mess up? Oh shoot, I forgot he just beat Hell as well. Never mind, Yuri should have a 3. But for right now, once the scores are done, I'm gonna add an extra to Yuri. Ankalaev, I'm gonna give him a 1. He did lose his last fight against Alex Pereira. Tom Aspinall, he won his last 3 fights. He lost to Curtis Blades before 4 fights ago. If you don't remember, he got injured. Jones is gonna be 5. Obviously, he's technically undefeated, but whatever. Even though he does have a loss in his resume, I forgot about that. Ober, he only lost once, and that was like over 5 fights ago, so I'm gonna give him a 5. And lastly, Khamzat, he's undefeated, so obviously another 5. Hype 1 through 5. 1 is nobody cares about you. 5 is you're a superstar. For Yuri, I'm gonna give him a 5. Technically, he is not a superstar, but because he is somewhat famous in the UFC, plus his fighting style, the way he fights, he is a 5. He's exciting. And he does have a fan base, so those 2 mixed together makes him a 5 in my opinion. Ankalaev, he's a 1. He's coming off a loss. A lot of fans are fickle. Once you lose, fans leave your fan base. And even before he lost, the light heavyweight division was so boring. People were even forgetting Magomedov was champ as well. So he has no personality. There's no need to have a personality to be a good fighter. He is a good fighter, but as a hype standards, he is very low on hype. So I'm gonna give him a 1. Tom Aspinall, I'm gonna give him a 4. He's no champ. He is the heavyweight champ. He is a KO machine, first round KO machine to add to that. But he still he doesn't have a huge fan base, and that's because he doesn't really talk that much. He doesn't talk too much smack talk, and I don't know if that hurts him or not. I don't know. Tom Aspinall for right now is still gaining fans. He's still on his up and coming as champ, which is crazy. So for him, I'm gonna give him a 4 because he's still not a huge superstar like Alex Pereira or the Ilias or like Yuri. Yuri for some reason has a bigger fan base than Tom Aspinall. But either way, next up, Jones, a 3. He is very known. He outside of MMA, he's relative kind of famous. Compared to the other UFC fighters, he's not an Ilya, he's not an Alex Pereira, and nobody really wants to see Jones fight right now, especially because he's how old is he? He's around the same age as Alex Pereira, and nobody really likes him in general. A bunch of people of the MMA fan base don't really like Jones. So I'm gonna give him a 3 because of those reasonings. And that's up Olberg, a 3. He is not. A lot of people don't like him in general. I don't know why. He is kind of boring. He doesn't really have a personality. He doesn't really talk. And then aside from that, they don't like that he KO'd Reyes in the first round, aka me. Either way, I think he's a 3 because he is a exciting KO finisher. Even though before he KO'd Reyes, he was having very boring performances. He's a 3 in my opinion. He's not a 4. He's not a 2. He's a 3. Khamzat is a 4. He would be a 5 if he destroyed DDP and he submitted him in the first round, or was out striking him on the feet, or KO'd DDP. But because he didn't do anything because of his very horrible performance against DDP, I'm gonna give him a 4. Now for hype matchup, basically, if you're a 1, nobody wants to see that fight. If you're a 5, very exciting fight, a big pay-per-view event for you against Alex Pereira. So for Yuri, I'm gonna give him a 3. He is 0-2 with Alex, but he is he evolved after the second Alex fight with his head movement. He's still getting KO finishes. He KO'd Alex Hill. He KO'd Roundtree. So he's still very dangerous. It just showed that for those 2 nights that he fought Alex was the better man. Can he get him a third time? We have seen fighters that go on losing streaks against Alex Pereira, KO Alex Pereira, aka Izzy. So it's very possible for Yuri to evolve and find the opening on Alex Pereira. But either way, it is a 3 because he is still 0-2 with Alex Pereira. If he loses a third time to Alex, I don't think people really want to see that. So, people just would rather see other fighters above Yuri for right now, fight for the belt. So for right now, it's a 3. Even though Yuri is super exciting stylistically, this match, the hype matchup, is going to be a 3. Now for Ankalaev, it's going to be a 2. For a trilogy, it is, Ankalaev is still dangerous. It was still a competitive fight in the first fight, even though technically, Alex Pereira was kind of injured. But either way, the second fight, how it went down, horribly wrong for Ankalaev. He got destroyed in the first round. But either way, I don't think people really want to see Ankalaev fight Alex Pereira once again. Take more time off away from Alex Pereira legacy. People will always want to see Alex Pereira fight new names. Alex Pereira just fought Ankalaev twice now. So I'm pretty sure people don't want to see this right now. If let's say Ankalaev goes on a 2-fight winning streak and Alex Pereira is still defending his light heavyweight belt, then yes, make this fight. But for right now, it's just doesn't make too much sense for a trilogy, especially because the way how Alex Pereira had a close fight with Ankalaev in the first fight and then had destroyed him in the second fight. So it doesn't really warrant a trilogy fight. Next up, Tom Aspinall. I'm gonna go 5 because this is a huge fight. Tom Aspinall against Alex Pereira. Huge fight. Alex Pereira, he is a heavyweight weight, but not heavyweight size, because Tom Aspinall is a heavyweight size heavyweight. He cuts down to 265. Alex Pereira needs to bulk up to 240, so 250 at max. And I don't know. It is a hype matchup. Everybody's gonna love to see this. I'm gonna love to see this. Can Alex Pereira's skill outweigh Tom Aspinall's size advantage? Who knows? So it is a very exciting fight. I'm gonna give it a 5, especially if it's at like that White House or whatever. Doesn't really make sense, Brazilian and English at the White House. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know why, but either way, Tom Aspinall a 5 easily. Champ versus champ. Next up, Jon Jones at 5. How do I put this? Jones he still has that legacy behind him. Even though you don't like Jon Jones, he's still one in a lifetime type of fighter when it comes to his legacy, his resume. Just a crazy resume. If Jones beats Alex Pereira, that's another crazy win for Jon Jones' legacy. If Alex Pereira beats Jones, that's a huge win. So it is a very big fight. Even though a lot of people don't like Jones right now, it is still a big fight. Just to see potentially Alex Pereira, send Jones to the Shadow Realm. There's like a Mayweather effect where you're gonna watch it. If you hate the fighter, you're gonna watch it just to see him get finished. And so there's a big fight as well. Jones versus Alex Pereira. 2 fighters with huge fan bases. One with a huge fan base and one with a huge legacy. So it is a great fight. Makes sense for White House. Jones is American, so it makes sense if this fight happens in the White House. So it's a hype matchup. It's gonna be a 5 easily. Next up, Oberg is gonna be a 4. It is an up-and-comer. Alex Pereira, when he went to the light heavyweight, he only fought people that were already at the light heavyweight. He fought the Yuri, Hill. They were champ before Alex moved up. Ankalaev, he fought for the belt before Alex moved up. Oberg is the only guy that's up and coming. That's a new name. He just finished Reyes. It is an up and comer, an actual prospect, not someone that's already been there before Alex was there. And so it's a good way to measure Alex Pereira's skill against a fresh guy coming up, not suffering that much damage. going up and seeing if Alex Pereira could defend his belt against a new up and comer, how Jones was defending against Reyes, against these other new guys. So for this, it's gonna be a 4. It is a good matchup. You know, Oberg does train with Izzy, so there's that competitiveness when Izzy is gonna be training with Oberg. Is gonna be, you know, there's gonna be Izzy's gonna be pointing out Alex Pereira's weaknesses, so Oberg has a good chance at making it competitive with Alex Pereira. So that's why I'm gonna go a 4. It's not a 5 because, you know, Oberg isn't huge. You know, I mean, Oberg doesn't have a huge fan base, but yeah, so that's why I'm gonna give it a 4. Lastly, Hamza is gonna be a 3. It is hype in the sense of, you know, he does have a fan base. He is a, let's say, dominant fighter. He does have a possibility to beat Alex, but because of his last performance, people don't really want to see it, and also people don't want to see Alex lose against a guy that stylistically can beat him, has a good chance at beating him. You know, people do like Alex Pereira. You know, they hated Ankalaev because he does have a stylistic matchup against Alex Pereira. You know, he didn't have a winnable stylistic style to beat Alex, so that's why people hated Ankalaev. People hate Hamza because he could beat Alex Pereira. But either way, it's gonna be a 3 because I do not want to see it. Alex Pereira has bigger fighters to fry. Tom Aspinall, the Jones, you know, Oberg. I don't care to see Hamza fight for the belt. He needs to defend his belt. Actually, that dude does not need to fight at all anywhere near light heavyweight. He needs to defend his belt like 3 times a year, in my opinion. They need to make a slave contract for Hamza and make him fight like 10 times a year. No recovery, just to keep fighting, because that dude's inactive and he wants to move up. No, make that guy slave, fighting at one slave away, defending his belt against Fluffy, Imavov, RDR, DDP rematch. Make that dude fight again. Don't ever in the same conversation put Hamza and light heavyweight or Alex Pereira. So it's gonna be a 3. Sorry for that. It's gonna be a 3. But yeah, so the last the end score is 21-9, 23, 22, 22, 19. Even though, like I said, Jiri was I was gonna give him a 3. He was still not gonna win. He was gonna have 22 at the end. And Tom Aspinall is the winner at 23 score. If you think I'm incorrect with this, tell me. But here you go. Alex Pereira should fight Tom Aspinall for his next matchup. I would like to see Oberg, but because of how I scored this, Tom Aspinall won. And so Alex Pereira should fight Tom Aspinall at the White House, maybe? I don't know. It wouldn't make too much sense. Maybe you should make this fight at Brazil, actually. Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall at Brazil. Here's the definitive winner. Who should Alex Pereira fight next? His next opponent, Tom Aspinall. Huge fight either way. I do not want to see Jones at all, even though he came close to almost winning this. I would rather see Oberg, like I said, but this is who Alex Pereira should fight. If you disagree, tell me in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys liked the video. Like and subscribe. See you guys, and goodbye.